Welcome to State of Africa. This is Minnie-lee Tagwirei. Over the past couple of decades, we have experienced a lot of xenophobic attacks in South Africa. We have witnessed so many foreign nationals dying at the hands of those people that believe that they are invading their space. So sitting here with me today is Mawande and Anele
Ngcamla.
Individually, do you think that foreign African nationals in South Africa pose a threat to you?
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so because there's a lot of opportunities in South Africa. It just depends on an individual whether or not they're dedicated to pursue their dreams. Okay. So I wouldn't say they, posing any threat on South African citizens.
Okay. And do you have any foreign nationals that are your neighbors in your neighborhood?
Yes, I do have foreign people that are staying next to me. For example, there is a Somali shop not far from my house.
You haven't attacked it yet?
Not yet. I'm speaking the truth. They've never been attacked, but yeah, I do have people, foreign people that stay in my area.
What's your relationship like with them?
To be honest with you, the relationship between me and the owner of the shop, which is the Somali guy, it's very good. We have a good relationship. Yeah, so I never have any problem with him, and he never had any problem with me as well. So, from my understanding, we fine.
So I would take both of you guys are fine with living with other foreign nationals like Zimbabweans, Mozambicans, Malawians, and so forth. Or when you look at them, do you consider them as foreigners?
We don't really consider them as foreigners because we're the same. There is not much difference between us South Africans and the foreign people. So, I for one, I will never consider them as different people. First of all, going back to the first question you've asked about what do we think is the cause of attacking the foreign people, I think it has something to do with the fact that most of the South Africans, let me be specific on this one, just to answer your question very well. I think most of the South Africans, they just become jealous when the foreign people have shops everywhere in our townships, and then that's where all these things started. Other than that, we don't really have any problem. I mean, we are the same with the foreign people, just that South Africans become jealous because the foreign people have shops and then we don't have shops.
As a foreign national myself, living in this country, I've also started my own business and I've encountered a lot of obstacles because I'm a foreigner. I understand that you guys have a lot of opportunities when you're starting your own businesses as South Africans. So do you think people actually understand that as a foreign national, to own a business in this country is twice as hard? And especially if you are a black foreigner as well, it's just harder. So do you think they actually get that they can actually do much better as locals than foreigners do? Setting up a business, that's what I'm talking about, as a foreign national here is much harder. I don't even have a BEE level in this country because I'm a foreign national. But if I was a black female South African with a business, I'll be BEE level 1. Have you guys seen any of the videos that are on social media and that have been showing on the news?
Well, I've seen a lot of complaints from South Africans about Nigerians specifically selling drugs and all those stuff. And some Nigerians complaining about the about the accusations and all those stuff. Yeah, and some people can't really like specify, you know, or maybe identify which foreign person is Nigerian and which foreign person is Somalian and all those stuff. So I think this whole thing about South Africans complaining about drug trafficking and everything else, like I think it has an impact on the xenophobic attacks.
It's funny that you say that about Nigerians. I was watching a video a few days ago, I think, of a press conference held by the chief commissioner of the police, saying that in Johannesburg CBD and Hillbrow there are a lot of foreign nationals that are currently dealing drugs, that are doing prostitution and everything. So what do you guys think about that? Anele, do you have an opinion about that?
Look, before I answer your question, the videos are everywhere in the social medias. The Nigerian people specifically, they selling drugs, they're robbing people, they're scamming people in different ways. Especially in Joburg, what you just said now, it was on the news last night. In Joburg, this building there, it seems that the Nigerian people, they seem to own the building. That's where all this is happening. So it is true that the Nigerian people are actually drug dealers in South Africa, and then the South African people are complaining a lot about it.
Okay, so this kind of crime, in your opinion, is it what is driving most South Africans into carrying out some xenophobic attacks?
Look, a good question that requires an answer from me. The main reason why South Africans ended up starting the xenophobia is because of the fact that the drug dealers are selling the drugs to South African people. They introduce South African people to the drugs, of which some of the drugs we were not aware about. And then since they came to South Africa...
So there are no South African drug dealers?
Not at all, according to my understanding.
Okay, all right, I'm going to tell you one thing. Before I moved to South Africa, I remember being warned about the rate of crime in South Africa. And I remember my aunt being worried that you want to move to Joburg, look at the crime rates, you're just a young girl, you just finished school. And it was deemed unsafe for me to come and live in this country because of the crime rate. So I'm thinking, is it fair for the government, especially your police officers, to blame foreign nationals on the rate of crime in the country, which is leading to xenophobic attacks at the moment?
It's not only foreign people, but criminals. There's also South African people who also do their living by offending the law and all those stuff.
Yes.
But since foreign people are foreign and all those stuff,
now they get blamed for everything.
They got blamed for everything. They got blamed for everything. And if you remember what I said, in this conversation earlier on, we cannot even identify who's Nigerian and who's
Somalian, who's
Ethiopian,
yes,
and all
yes.
the stuff. We cannot even identify that.
Yeah,
so
because we look the same. I look at you. You can be Zimbabwean for heaven's sake.
I can be Zimbabwean.
You can be from Malawi.
But guys,
you're all brown.
Look, before he finishes his story, let me just intervene. Sorry to intervene. She asked do you think the government is fair enough that they pointing fingers to foreign people that they drug dealers in South Africa? And then you said you don't think the government is fair enough.
Yes.
But from my perspective point of view, the government is fair. Because why? In many occasions, they caught a foreign people with drugs. And then we call that person a drug dealer. I can't remember, not even a single day, a South African person was caught.
Oh, no. Do you watch the news every day? Do you read?
I do.
There was a house burst into in Benoni, which was rented by a white South African, where they recovered a lot of drugs. This was a few years ago.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, and if we don't have to like specifically talk about just drugs, if we have to just talk about like crime, specifically just crime. There's hijacking as well.
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff besides just a lot of organized crime besides just drug dealing. And,
yes.
Yeah.
There's armed dealing.
There's armed dealing.
Yeah, there's prostitution.
So I wouldn't say foreign people are responsible for that. I wouldn't say so. But I am expecting foreign people, to be criminals somehow,
because you guys have labeled us as criminals.
No.
I feel like, from my perspective, I feel like the government is not doing their job correctly. So when South African citizens are looking for answers, it's easier to blame Malawians, it's easier to blame Mozambicans, it's easier to blame people from Botswana. And then you guys change your focus. Instead of focusing on the real issues, you end up focusing on foreign nationals. Have you ever asked yourselves, like, why is it's only Africans that are being attacked, not European foreign nationals, not Asian foreign nationals? When there's a lot of Chinese businessmen running businesses, there's a lot of Europeans running big franchises. So why is it targeted on poor Africans instead of rich foreign nationals that you guys call investors or all sorts of fancy names? But then we black ones are the Makwerekweres.
Yeah.
I've heard from a lot of South Africans that foreign people are not just invading South Africa in terms of just owning small businesses such as the tuck shops. I've heard that they've also invaded South Africa in terms of job opportunities as well.
Mawande, I'm going to cut you off. When we come back, we will dig deeper into black foreign nationals, white foreign nationals.
Yeah.
Why is it black foreign nationals are always victims? This is State of Africa. We'll be right back. Welcome back to State of Africa. This is Minnie-lee Tagwirei. I'm still sitting here with Anele and Mawande. So before we took our break, we were just talking about why is it that other Africans are victims of these xenophobic attacks instead of Europeans, Americans, Asians, and so forth. Do you guys understand that these are Africans, these are our brothers, they're just as poor as we are, and yet we have other nationalities that we don't even look at because of the difference of our skin.
Of the skin,
Yeah. Would you like to take that, Mawande?
I blame that on the historical events, and if I have to be specific, back on the apartheid era, because during the apartheid government, the class was based on the ethnic group, whether you were black, colored, or white, and all this stuff. So that had a huge impact on the society in terms of our perspective as South African citizens. Specifically, if we have to talk about values and priorities and the culture and just everything that has to do with the society,
Okay, so
we're more likely to respect white people
then
because of the era, even before the apartheid government was in power, because of all that era, like the slavery and everything. But yeah, so I'll blame that on capitalism as well.
okay, so do you think that as black people we actually hate each other because maybe we were subjected to harsh colonial conditions, slavery and so forth, and maybe we hate ourselves as well?
Yeah, look, let me just intervene in that regard. I think, first of all, South Africa is playing a big role in this xenophobic thing because they're the one that they should stop this, first of all, before anything could happen, and then the government should be blamed. What is happening now? Black people, South African people, they attack the foreign people in South Africa.
Black foreigners.
Yes, black foreign people. We stay together in the communities, and then we attack each other, and then government does not play any big role in that regard. So, from my perspective, point of view, I think government should be blamed.
So we should blame our black government for our black behavior, which is attacking each other.
That's my point, yeah.
Okay, alright.
Well, my opinion on that is that maybe it's time for us as human beings to realize that the power is within us, because we're the ones who elect the political organizations that should be in power. So
Okay.
maybe if we may try to introduce some new morals, some new culture, and some new values, which may also influence our priorities and as human beings, then that's when there could be a possible change.
Do you think we need more education as black people, or maybe as black South Africans, because they're the ones that are, okay, you guys are the ones that are attacking.
Yeah, just put it that way. You know, yeah, don't play hide and seek. Just go straight to the
Yes.
point that
Okay, you guys are attacking foreign nationals, including me as
Yes.
Zimbabwean.
Yes.
So maybe do you think you guys need more education? Do you need guidance from your government? Okay, do you think the government is playing a good role in unifying black Africans, or it's separating black Africans?
Look, I will just disagree mainly with you in that regard, because I don't really think that we South African people need to be educated or we need to be sent to school or whatsoever. But what I'm trying to say here is, we staying, like for example, I stay in Makaza. My neighbor is a Somalian guy. And then in the third house from my house at the back now, the Somalian guy is in front of me, and then the third house from my house, there is a shop there. It's for a South African person. But now, people of South Africa, they don't go buy to that shop for the South African person. They go to buy from a Somalian guy.
It's giving them good service.
You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
You see? And then I don't know where it comes from that we must attack foreign people in South Africa, because at the end of the day, we support them more than the South African people. That shop is not running, is not making any good money, but the Somali shop is making big money. You see?
Okay, maybe we go back to the safe hate.
Okay.
Because this person that people are supporting is Somalian. They're leaving a South African
Yes.
shop to go to a Somalian
They all
shop,
go there.
which means the owner of the shop obviously now hates Somalians because to him they're competition. But then look at the reasons why they are also supporting a Somalian. Maybe it's just a good businessman, maybe it's giving them good products, maybe it has a lot to do with a lot of things. Yeah. So as much as you're supporting them, that support is also building up hate amongst other people in the society. Okay, let's talk about unification. As a black South African, you're speaking to me, a black Zimbabwean,
Yes,
with
yes.
different
Yes.
nationalities in Africa. Do you think we can actually get to a point whereby we don't look at each other as people that come from this country or this country, but just as Africans?
Okay, let me just answer that one again. If these people, the foreign black people that are staying in Makaza, in my area, they can take part in anything that is happening within the community,
Wow.
then I think this xenophobia thing can decrease.
Yeah.
But what I've experienced in the past 5 years or so, the people that are staying in our communities, the African, non-citizen people that are staying in our communities, they don't interact with anything that is happening in our communities.
Other African
And
nationals.
they isolate themselves, they exclude themselves in anything that is happening there. But they are staying with us.
Or maybe
But-
they just don't feel comfortable enough.
But they staying there. How come they don't feel comfortable? They stay with us
Does
there.
that bother you though?
Look, it does, because first of all, I don't understand why they isolate themselves. When the whistle is blown in my community, it means that everybody must go to that meeting in the corner there, or in a community hall. But now they don't go to our meetings.
Alright, Mawande, do you think we can see unification whereby we are not looking at each other in form of the borders that were drawn between us?
That'll have to start with education.
Thank you. He
I
said he
think that'll
doesn't
have
need to go to
start.
school.
No. Well, it isn't
No,
necessarily.
it's his opinion, remember. It is his.
It isn't. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be like, something that has to do with the institution and all the stuff. But some workshops
Yeah.
for the conscious and all the stuff. Yeah. Because xenophobia is not the only issue, like, but there's discrimination amongst us as human beings. I mean, there's also racism, and there's also some issues that arise from the fact that we come from different regions, like regionalism and tribalism and all those stuff. Yeah, I think if we may try to, embrace the fact that we're all human beings. I mean, try to, just emphasize that only part, because I've seen a lot of foreign people not just being attacked in a verbal way, like even in a physical way. So if maybe we may try to organize some organizations that may educate people
I like the
about
word,
issues
eh?
like this.
Yes. Alright, so I wish we had more time to tackle this topic, which is currently affecting everyone living in South Africa, especially Black Africans in South Africa. Unfortunately, we don't right now, we have to go. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of State of Africa. I am Minnie-lee Tagwirei, and this is State of Africa.